Every one of you watching this screen, look out.
Anything can happen in the next half hour.
What did I tell you about cartoons?
They've got a lot of brains, and they've got a lot of chutzpah.
Tell me how comic books make you feel, Dave.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
Hello, this is Frantz Kantor, cartoonist, illustrator, and toon talker, and I'm here with
Jim Bridges, and I'm the president of the Australian Cartoon Museum.
So what are we talking about today? We've got the art book of The Song of the Sea, which is another Cartoon Saloon cartoon, and it's directed by Tom... that's his name. Where's the other book?
Moore.
Tom Moore, yeah. So,
two M's in Tom.
Yeah, like the Secret of the Kells. This is it deals with an Irish story, and it's created in Ireland. This cartoon, but this is the art book of it. So this is basically a published tome created by.
Yeah, well, they publish it
Cartoon
themselves.
Saloon.
They publish it themselves.
Yeah,
Cartoon Saloon.
yeah. So this is a great book, actually. This film is lovely. Again, deals with an Irish concept and Irish legends of, great mythology and the landscape and the concepts and things like the owls, the owl witch, matcha,
yeah.
And other things like I can't even pronounce them, but they're like, selkies I can pronounce. Mac Lear is the mountain giant, Mac Lear.
Who turns into a...
So these are folklore.
Yeah. This is an interesting sketch here because virtually the whole film is here. There's the whole film.
Animatic lock. Here we go, script. Okay, there's the whole process. There's a process tree.
Yeah. And you don't really see that in really see that in a book.
No, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
That's how the production is structured.
So let's get straight to it. Locations.
So
now,
locations.
What's different between this film and any other animated film we've ever seen is it's still got this great sense of design like their other the Book of Kells.
Yeah,
but the story in this is excellent. It's really, it's
a story about a father and his kids, right?
Yeah, but it's everybody in the story, all the little characters and stuff, they have their journey. Everyone has their journey. And they're long journeys. They're not simple journeys.
No. It's complicated because of the Irishness or the ethnic quality of the storytelling, which is very peculiar. A lot of people, obviously native Irish people would be familiar with Mac Lear and selkies. Selkies are these spirits that live in the water. I think they were called water horses or something.
No. Okay. Aren't they women who go and they wear this coat and they become seals and they live forever. They're an Irish form of a mermaid. Irish form.
I'm only going by the book fairies, so I don't know.
Yeah, and it starts
it's a Celtic legend.
Yeah, it starts off. They live on this.
The lighthouse.
The lighthouse, yeah.
And the lighthouse promontory, the cliff that the lighthouse exists on, has this Irish legend of it being the. Isn't that Mac Lear?
Yes,
giant?
Actually, who is actually here.
Yeah.
That's the rock. That's the face of rock, And
so it's rich. The landscape itself.
So if you can see
these
drawings here, see this is.
These are based on like the cliff is based on the sadness of this giant.
Yeah, who's
so sad
that
he turned into...
Well, he cried the oceans. He cried that much the oceans came, and he became frozen
creation story.
He became frozen into the island, which is an important part of the film, actually. And these are shots of the father who loses his wife.
Yeah, who is a selkie. He marries a selkie.
He married a selkie.
Yeah.
And she goes back to the ocean and...
Look how beautiful the elements featured in this story, because they're isolated in this sort of island where the rocky outcrop where the lighthouse is. Weather plays an enormous part of that environment.
Anybody who goes to Ireland knows about the rain and about
misery.
It's always moist.
Yeah, let's have a quick look at that page with the drawings. This is how they worked out the animation. So the weather itself is very stylized. The animation for the weather is very, very stylized and incredibly well thought out. So that's one thing I wanted to sort of mention.
And it has a fresh
composition,
like the animation, the background colours, the background designs all have a fresh, wet feel about them.
Yeah.
Like you're actually there.
Yeah.
When they're walking across the grass, you feel the wet, you know? Yeah. This is the mother selkie.
Yeah. This is one of Tom Moore's actual sketches.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And this is the mother again.
And how they mix...
These are like digital, but they're reflecting pastel, like real world textures.
How they mix mythology and the reality of the present day kids is really, really interesting.
I find it really interesting also the way that they put in these illustrative, excursions into design. Just for the
in the film? In the film, or
not in the film? These are just sort of like visual notes for the style, the feel, the look and feel of the.
This is to help the overall narrative, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. We're missing anything? No, that's a beautiful little picture. So these are explorations that don't make it into the film, but they're explorations visually. So trying to nail down a look and feel. So the visual narrative, the feel of the film has an incredible richness to it, even though they're quite stylized.
Yeah, and there's a lot of work gone into the film, but you have a feeling that it's all very efficient. It's all very efficient. Like it is. Everything works. Everything does its job. Nothing is being carried along with the rest of it, you know?
So these are rough layouts. These are just concepts. A lot of the early stuff of the book is made up of this concept art. And concept art serves as a way of nailing down the visual look, but also to create this vibe, to create the character, to find the character or the singular voice of the film itself.
And there's also, like the other book on The Secret of the Kells, there's a strong use of watercolour, which really, really helps. Yeah, it really helps. It actually, it really, you feel like you're actually in the landscape.
Yeah, and a lot of it isn't actual watercolour. It's a digital derivative or a digital version of watercolour, but it still has the same textural
And you
qualities.
think a lot of the story is going to be about the selkies and in the water and all that sort of stuff, but that's only part of it. They actually they grow up on the lighthouse, and then they have to go back into the city with the auntie.
Yeah, so it's a beautiful excursion. Of styles of going from the raw roughness and the direct exposure to the Celtic legends that they come from with their environment on the lighthouse to the city, and then finding a Celtic access point in the city when they come back. You know, that journey of the Celtic roots is so very powerful in this film.
This is their dog. And there's
Such a beautiful
the
dog.
older boy who doesn't like looking after his younger sister, and he wears 3D glasses, which I thought you'd really love.
So I think that's a throwback to the 1950s. But the dog is like this beautiful
Very
sheepdog.
simply drawn, but beautifully animated.
Yeah. So like the cat in the first film,
Yeah.
Secret of the Kells,
Yeah.
which was beautiful shapes and curves and shapes, soft shapes, S curves and things.
And these are done so beautiful, you actually think they're actual rocks. You actually feel you could pick them out of the shot and just carry them.
Well, they're very textural.
Yeah.
So a lot of great personality they get within these shapes, in these characters. You can see how beautifully they're conceptualized, and designed.
And don't be put off by the cute look.
No.
Because there's a lot of
it can be quite
uncute. There's a lot of
serious
uncute stuff in it as well.
and very quirky. I mean,
And
this
that's
whole,
right.
There's
They're the wee people.
They're the
They're the
kids.
fairies.
yeah,
There's fairies in
it's
it.
very strange.
Very strange.
Fairies, as in
silly
F-A-E.
old bloke fairies.
Yeah, Faeries.
Yeah. And there's all sorts of landscapes. They go underground.
So the journey is again helped beautifully by these and the color palettes by these beautiful digital watercolors.
Yeah.
The designs themselves, they have this very fluid.
Yes, and they're designed for animation, and the movement's really beautiful. This is an old character who has all his hair,
Yeah,
and
I thought you'd like this because you like
following a line.
that Hirschfeld.
Oh yeah, but
Hirschfeld's
it's Paul Clay's
line.
favourite character, isn't it? Who
line.
follows a line. Take a line for a walk.
Yeah.
Look
is that
at
what
his
he said?
finger turning around here.
Yeah. Yeah, the spaghetti fingers.
Yeah, this is a guy from. This is one of the
One
wee
of the
people.
spirits, one of the wee people.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see how beautifully animated or animatable he is.
It's
the character jumps
actually
off the
so much of the actual character design is so simple, and it's just designed for animation.
Yeah, so that's how.
And
That's
yet
one of his earlier
Yeah.
iterations. How he's
Yeah.
developed into this massive curls and
Yeah,
things. And the spirals, of course, feature a lot in the Celtic.
Yeah, that's right.
Patterns
And this is this is the boy Ben,
yeah.
and he's obviously doesn't like looking after his sister. He goes on a journey where he understands everything.
Yeah.
The father goes on a journey. She goes on a journey. She nearly dies.
Well, she transforms.
Yeah.
She's transforming because, like a water spirit that's
Yeah.
away from the water
That's
too
right,
long.
that's right.
They
Because
lose
they
their,
shift away.
life force.
They shift away from their life force and they
Yeah.
go into to the city.
Yeah, but she's gorgeous. She's really
Yeah.
beautifully designed. In
She
such
doesn't.
simple
She doesn't
lines.
talk until the end of the
Yeah,
film.
but
That's
look,
another thing.
With such simplicity.
Yeah, it's just.
they're able to get an incredible a range of emotions.
Yeah,
It's quite
the
complex.
simplicity is.
And she doesn't talk, does she?
No, at first I thought she was just too simple.
Yeah.
But as the film goes on, you just realise just how great it is.
Yeah. So here you got early character turnarounds.
Yeah, this is the sketches and then inked.
Another illustrator brought in to select sort of a visual style that they can play with the hair.
Yeah.
They handle hair beautifully. In
Yes,
this,
it's
film.
very Celtic hair. See, here's early design of the father because his wife goes into the water and she gives birth to the child and she never comes back, and the child does, and here she is here, and he's in mourning. He's in mourning the whole time.
Yeah.
And this is his mother who drags them away because it's too dangerous.
Yeah, so there's a similarity which I didn't pick up from.
Well,
in the
Granny and
film
March are
between-
closely linked.
They're closely linked.
They're both well-meaning and yet are misguided in their actions.
Exactly. Yeah. So they're sort of characters that are like what you said before. They,
They're just
the real
beautiful.
grandmother is the evil character in the story.
Yeah, look beautiful, just
Yeah.
simple
Yeah.
but beautiful.
Look at the owl. Let's
Yeah.
have a close up on that. Look at that owl.
Yeah.
The expressiveness of those gestures
Yeah.
are magic.
And the
This is
use
the
of
owl
lines.
witch.
Yeah, here she is.
And
Here.
you can see the owl witch and how she configures with the owls. The owls are her familiars, and they're also part of her
She's a little bit like the
character design.
In the Miyazaki movie, you know.
The witch.
Yeah. And the very linear designs, and beautiful. Look at this.
Watching the film, I'll just go through this. So watching the film, this character talk, he uses a mustache.
Yeah.
So the mustache speaks.
Yeah.
There's no actual mouth shapes. There's just the mustache speaking, which I was looking at and was fascinated in. You know, how much...
And their use of hands.
Yeah.
They really rely upon hands. Both movies, they really rely upon hands.
But the hands are beautifully articulate.
Yeah, and yet they're so basic.
Yeah.
They're
But
just
they
blocks.
refer to, beautiful human anatomy. So
Yes.
they have, even though they're simplified almost to symbol, they're still very humanistic.
Yes. That's what I love about this film. As you said, they're almost reduced to symbols.
So this is a character breakdown. This is an earlier version of the hairy spirit.
There's the family unit, but it's not that. It's a pretty... Because he's in mourning the whole film, basically.
Yeah.
This is closer.
Yeah, he's pretty dour.
Yeah.
If you want to use a Scottish term. He's pretty dour. These are the characters over here. So you can basically see how they all put together. And these are lined up by Tom Moore himself. So these are little watercolours. Actual watercolours, if you look at the little brush stroke down here, little test. They're actual watercolours, so they're beautiful.
So here's the story that starts off there. He's given this. His mother gives him this conch shell that's got holes in it that he blows things, and it communicates with everything.
Yeah. So this is the development and production part. You can start to see these are some storyboards. See what I mean by storyboards? There's usually about 10 times more panels in a more frames in an animated storyboard than in a film, because you've got to put these lot of these subtle.
They're hand drawn, but they're obviously on a computer, yeah.
Yeah, but these are probably, I don't know whether these are hand drawn or on a computer. They're probably hand drawn. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. At the end, the end result justifies the means. But what I was saying was every subtle movement, like expression changes and things, are so very important to draw. Whereas in film you don't really have that in film storyboards. That's what I meant to say. This is some color mood boards. Color mood boards establish the emotional impact of the film itself, how the film plays out emotionally.
These pylons they walk under, they look like birds. They sort of use these sort of bird...
They're motifs.
Yeah, birds are the bad guys.
Yeah, so to help tell the story,
it
kind of reminds me of isn't it Richard Cowper's Owl Service?
And when he blows the conch, or she blows the conch, you get all these little lights, little light sources, which are actually... Spirits, yeah. And they bring all the dead spirits alive. Like each one of these rocks is a spirit.
Yeah.
And at the end, the finale, they all come alive and they all go up in the sky. Here it is here. Yeah. Pretty extraordinary. It's like the Northern Lights are actual characters.
Or the Southern Lights, the Aurora Borealis.
Yeah. Well, we're in the Northern Hemisphere. We're talking island here, mate.
All right. Well, we're in the Southern Hemisphere, so we don't get such a big light show.
No.
We get a mini one. So this is incredibly...
We have less pollution down here too, which helps.
Well, we created the ozone layer hole, I think.
Did we? Yeah. I think the rest of the world had help in it.
No, I think we used more deodorant. Anyway,
Australians use more deodorant. That's news to me, mate. I'll tell you.
Look at the organic use of watercolor to give it that sort of binding.
It's so simple but effective.
Human.
The mother, I think, is one of the best mothers in the history of animation.
Yeah.
And yet she's so simple. Look.
She is. She has a maternal and playful quality
and
at the same time. This is a beautiful... Look at this.
There's that face again. There's that frozen.
That was not used in the final film, but it's really, really, really strong.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful.
And
look at this. Look. Noughts and crosses.
By Adrienne Mergiot.
Yep.
Mergiot. And this is a lovely... digital illustration, scene illustration.
And this is always connected. They always see the two of them because there is the face.
So yeah.
And this is the bedroom.
Yep.
Or one of the bedrooms.
You can see how much character they put into this, the world building. Again, harking on Miyazaki. Miyazaki's world building ability is second to none.
I think this is really influenced by Miyazaki because of the family story, plus the actual story. The adventures they go on are quite extensive. It's not simple.
No.
It's not simple. And while you're watching it, it's got an epic feel about the journey that everyone has to go on.
So these are panels that you get step-by-step examples of digital rendering process. The rendering process, it's done in steps, obviously. It's done in steps because each step you might need to tweak. So the more steps you have, the more layers you have in the composite, the more you're able to get in there and get down and dirty into the process itself and fix things up, and not just for color but for texture. Because remember, these things, even though they're digital, they have to have a human feel, a human touch has to be present at all times. Otherwise, we kind of lose touch. We lose connection with the story and the humanness of the story. Look at that pencil. Oh, look at that pencil. Beautiful.
Yeah.
How decorative the strokes are and how perfect. Very good tonal work.
They had people from Brazil and France and all sorts of countries working on this, but it's just very Irish, very Irish.
Yeah.
And it's continually raining.
Which is the interesting part when you set a scene in a story. It doesn't matter what the scene is. You have to be true to the scene.
Yeah.
So whatever the story is, it has to be eccentric. The more eccentric, the more interesting it is.
That's right.
It's different to what our experience
in the film, when they walk out that door, that brick wall grabs you and it's like this.
Yeah.
The tessellated.
That brick wall reminds me of the brick wall between Barney Rubble and Fred Flintstone.
Hey, Barney boy. Yep. And as I said, you've got this connection right throughout the whole film of design.
There's some compositing illustrations. There are some compositing notes which you can start to see how they compose scenes beautifully in reference to the storyboard, of course. But they balance the light and shade to tell the story perfectly.
Yeah.
So color, light and shade. These are some other color boards or color concept art over here, which is by a different artist, Lily Bernard. So it's a great mixture of artwork. With every scene, they have to be explored the best way to tell the story.
There's no boring bits in the film. I found myself completely glued to the story as I was dragged along the whole time.
Yeah, Granny Street.
And I really felt like I got about 3 hours worth of story out of an hour and a half film.
Yeah.
Which you don't normally get in an animation film. And it's reflective. It's not like a lot of Hollywood films that just have, non-stop action. It is reflective.
Well, it's how animation should be.
Yeah.
It should be more a different experience than film. Not every film has the jam-packed action that Thor has or the Avengers. You need to tell stories that are more that require a gentler touch.
All these people turn into stone because the Silkie's not doing her job. And these are the three blokes who track her down and and tell the boy about what he has to do. That
aspect of the Silkie, the relationship between the Silkie and the other people from the magic realm is not fully articulated, it's not fully explained.
No.
But we kind of get the feeling because of the...
But they mix it up because they just happen to be doing Halloween that day,
which is like a premise from...
so there's all these shots. It's a really beautiful.
So we're not.
Bus driver only has about 3 or 4 words to say, but he's very
Yeah, that's a face out of Disney, isn't it?
But he's memorable. He doesn't have much.
Like the train conductor from a few Disney shorts.
And there's cows and there's.
But everything has a sense of magic. Even this cow pasture has a sense of magic. Have a look what's in the sky.
Yeah.
So everything there has a magical inference. Even foxes. I mean, I love foxes in films. I find them fascinating.
They don't do what they're told.
Look at that klimt, sprig of fern.
Yeah.
Foxes in Japanese mythology
big.
hearken journeys. They actually mean journeys.
And of course, every time they go underground, it's magic. It's just. And here's a shot where they're just walking, and you can see the badgers underneath the ground, like you can see through it, like X-ray vision. And it's just that's all it is. And yet, it's a great feeling of nature.
The nature and the magic are connected. They're
that's
interconnected.
Right.
They're like hand in hand, work hand in hand. And you see man-made structures like little walls and man's pets and animals, the cows and things like that. So they kind of happily coexist.
Well, this is a very ancient, primitive, prehistoric sort of.
Isn't that a baron?
Yeah. Ban, whatever, but
Hobbit hole,
and of course it's all covered around with prickle bushes and stuff, and the cows get into it. But it's inside it. It's a spiritual place.
Yeah.
See, it's all these semi-religious icons. Yeah. And there's this incredible tree growing in the middle of the water, and she goes back into the water because she needs the connection to the water. And then he goes after her. And
he doesn't know her connection to the water. He just presumes she's like a little kid, a kid sister that he has to mind.
But you see, when she goes into the water, she doesn't come out. So he thinks she's drowning.
So the growth of him and his father are both the same. They're in denial of the selkie.
That's right.
The selkie is the daughter that's been entrusted to them by the mother.
And this is a great part of the story too, because he tells him to follow this particular hair, which he does, because there's hair everywhere, there's thread.
Yeah, so it's a Theseus type of
that's right.
excursion into the labyrinth.
That's right.
So that unfolds some more of the story, getting more into the
and towards the end, the selkie, there she is when she was born.
Yeah. So this is an unaffected frame, and this is the affected frame. Yeah. So you can have a look at the comparison between both. This is the raw footage, and this is the composite. This is the actual finished footage of the frame. So you can see all of the effects that they've added in, and to create this textural quality.
And the bleed.
That's very important.
The bleed. And like even the roots underneath the ground, they've got Celtic looks.
So everything is and has a magical intonation, a magical touch to it. That's good. It tells you. So
this is where the
magic happens.
Yeah.
That's the owl witches.
Yeah, who's after her and trying to.
That is a really extraordinary shot. That's an incredible designed thing. It's almost like one of these nests, these nests of birds that collect bits and pieces of detritus.
Oh yeah,
into their
detritus. Oh, and blue bits as well.
Yeah, well, in Australia it's blue bits. Over there, their owls collect bits of bones and twigs and things to decorate.
And this is nature's always shown inside and outside.
Yeah. Oh, look at those. They're very.
Miyazaki-like.
Mononoke's nature spirits.
Yeah.
Look at her. There's Granny Owl, or the what's her name? Mavka. And of course she has a big turnaround. She has a huge turnaround. Yeah.
Because she is related to that bloke who's.
Well, she's his mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's frozen because of something that's happened.
Yeah.
And of course,
I wonder what happened.
If you're Irish, besides coming into the parlour, you'd know most of these stories.
Yeah. So peppered throughout the book, there are process pages like this, so you can see the breakdowns of how things are built up from sketch to final frame. So the adding of details. These are concept boards again to explain the.
I like the use of overhead shots. They use overhead shots a lot.
This is on paper.
This is water.
This is watercolour. That's not on watercolour paper.
See how it's pinched the paper?
Because it's not watercolour.
Yeah, it hadn't been stretched. Yeah. And this is the ghost dogs. actually help them on their journey.
Wolfhound type looking characters.
Yeah.
Which is similar, I guess, to the design of the wolves in Secret of the Kells. They have a sort of a spiritual and decorative look about them that's very interesting. This is very telling. Look, they go from this concept art here down to this version. So there's the concept art version, and there's the final version, and there's a final version with effects. So you actually see the process involved, the creative process to create the final look. So throughout the book, there are all these peppered little insights into the animation process. So if you're a fan of animation and are familiar with a lot of these hands-on processes, you know, that they create in compositing software and Toon Boom and After Effects and whatever, then, you know, this is quite an instructive journey for you.
Is that...
that's like an Ouroboros.
Yeah.
To create the circle. Circles are...
and the father throws the coat overboard, and the seals help the boy find...
To retrieve it,
Yeah, because he has to wrap his sister in that coat or she'll die.
Yeah.
And then she starts to talk.
He doesn't believe her at first, but then in the end, he and then the father, through the virtue of his sacrifice, he dived in a storm, mind you. Yeah. He dived at night. He dives into this deep water to swim down, and he's impossible to swim down too.
Yeah.
So the seals help him to swim down to retrieve his sister's selkie coat.
Yeah, it gets pretty heavy, doesn't it?
Right.
It gets pretty heavy in the story. You think they're all going to die.
So they're all going to die, unless they believe in magic. So that's the pivotal point. Unless they believe in magic,
spooks.
They're going to die.
I do believe.
They're going to die. So, and then of course they believe, and then even the dog believes, and then
the dog always believes. What are you talking about?
Well, dogs are dogs.
Yeah, dogs.
So
are dogs.
they and there's some broccoli.
And and then they get back on that other island, which is where the giant's frozen.
Oh, look at that! How about that for light show? Look at that.
And then the mother comes back to the daughter.
Disney moment.
Yeah, this is
Fantasia.
Yeah, and so the island comes alive, and he walks back, and he holds his mother. They're reunited.
Yeah. And
then this happens, and it goes all over the island, and all the ghosts come out of the ground. It's really it's a beautiful. That's it. It's a really extraordinary moment.
So there's some beautiful concept art by Lily Bernard there, and this is how the film plays out. Awesome. Some great stuff there. There's another piece of concept art. So going from establishing the drama, the values of the scene, going from the grayscale.
Because each one of these is each one of these
they're all a mythical
is a character. Is a character. So
a hero from history or mythology.
And they finally go back home.
Yeah. Look at that beautiful.
And there's so much shots of the pure watercolour that's in this film that actually give you a feel.
But it's a living watercolour because they actually move. They're
some of them
organic,
do,
but
and
they do move.
It's got this great feel about it, handmade feel about it. You don't think you're looking at a slick product.
So this is a very
although the
Disney
the main characters
Disney take note.
The main characters are very cute looking, but the actual over effect looks like it's handmade, which is what I loved about the film.
Yeah.
So you see, there's this
there's an
mythic feel about
the mythology.
Yeah.
About that. Yeah.
And then we get back to the notes.
So they're the notes from the people involved, the producers,
the actors, the voice people,
CEOs, the quotes from the cast, etc. It should actually come with a thesaurus of Irish.
Well, you don't normally get that
Irishness.
much people in a book like this where the crew actually has a lot of input into it. You know what I mean?
Well, they used an international. They used an international crew.
Yeah.
But the story is peculiarly an Irish experience.
So it was Oscar nominated. Well, it didn't get there.
No, but next time. Next time lucky. So, that is the art book of The Song of the Sea. And
one of the best stories that's ever been animated. The story in particular is really strong.
Yeah.
Really strong.
So, that's it. We'll catch you next time. This is Frantz Kantor
and Jim Bridges saying check us out on Patreon.
Please subscribe on Patreon.
This is an ancient shell that my mother gave me a long time ago. Hold it to your ear and listen carefully. You will hear the song of the sea.
Mom? I'm so sorry.
Say hello to Saoirse.
In this awful place.
Ugh, Granny. She's going to try and make us move to the city again.
At last! We found her!
Saoirse! Run! Those stories that Mum told me, they're all true. Are you really a selkie? What's happening to you?
All of us are connected, and we'll all share in our fate.
I have to find her.
Thanks for the sour persimmons, cousin.